So the question is, the BMW i3 or the i3s? What are the differences? Should you pay the extra money and buy an i3s? Well, long experienced customer of the i3. We've owned a BMW i3 since September 2014. We got a new one in 2015, March 2015. And we've got to say, we've completed about 37,000 miles in the i3 now, across the two models, and it's an excellent car. My father has one as well. His is a 2013 model, and really these cars don't have any significant issues or problems. You know, little niggly things that the dealers fix, but really no issues at all in the ownership of his car. So I just want to compare firstly the difference between the original BMW i3 you see on the right and the LCI model. Yes, this is an S model, but it's essentially an LCI, and the main differences you'll notice in the front is that the different variation of headlights. The orange i3 has the LED headlight options, but the main beam lights, that's for dip beam, the main beam lights are halogen lights, and you can see those you know, to the right on the bumper. Also they double as the indicator lenses as well. On the LCI model it's a little bit of a different arrangement. The all headlight functions are now within the LED units, either side of the kidney grille. The LED dip beam is self-leveling as per the old model, but the main beam is now LED, and let me tell you, at night you put the main beam on this car, you really see the difference. It's like daylight. They're a fantastic main beam, and quite honestly an excellent dip beam as well. Definitely go for the LED option if you're buying a car or a second-hand one. It makes a big difference, but the LCI brings that added benefit of the LED main beam as well. The indicators now on these slitty lights either side. Still the daytime running lights are in the main cluster with the headlight, and you know, on the old vehicle the daytime running lights are the same, but the main beam is now of course part of the main unit as well, so there's a difference there. Round the back there are some styling changes. If we look at the older car, you'll see that we have obviously the i3 badge at the back here, and you see the light and cluster. On the newer car there are some styling changes. It gives the car a little bit of a wider stance. Lights a little bit different, obviously the i3s logo, and that rather sexy chrome strip across the back of the tailgate as well. The other big difference you'll notice is the tyres. On this S model, instead of the standard 155 or 175 tyres at the back, 155 for the electric version, 175 for the range extender, this car's now got 195 50 20-inch tyres, 20-inch rims. Yes, the 20s are unique to the i3s. You can specify 20s on the i3, the standard model, but the width is back to 175 mil. This car, our car's got the standard 19-inch wheels, with the 175 at the back and the 155 at the front being a range extender. As I say, in service, what can I say? These cars make ideal town cars. One of the reasons they make such ideal town cars is these are composite panels. They don't dent. If somebody opens a door next to you in a supermarket car park, or they run the trolley into the car, there's no mark, there's no dent, there's no nothing. I mean, how good is that for round town? The other great round town feature is the turning circles. It's about that of a London taxi. You can just turn around anywhere in these cars, and the high up driving position is great. Now, what about ride quality? Well, originally when the 20-inch tyre option was available on the i3, the ride quality was appalling. It was actually traced back to a faulty batch of tyres that had been fitted to the car, so they were changed out under warranty, and the ride quality improved enormously. It never affected the 19-inch wheels, and I've got to say that's why we went for the 19s, because we did a test drive on 20s, and it wasn't great, so we went for the 19s. That problem went away. Now, I was interested to see what the ride quality was like on the LCI with the larger rims and also the wider tyres. I've got to say, the ride quality, even though you've got 20-inch rims versus 19-inch, there's really no significant difference. I think the additional width of the tyres helps enormously in respect. There's slightly lower tyre pressure, there's less tendency for a tyre to fall into a small pothole as well, because of that extra width. So and the handling, you probably also notice that the track of the car is somewhat wider. The wheels are slightly on spacers, and there's wheel arch extensions obviously to cover up the vehicle. Now, one consequence of the wheel arch extensions you might see, we have the parking assist package on our i3. You can see the sensor here for the parking assist, which means the car will automatically park itself. Now, the LCI has this, but when you specify the sport model, you've got these wheel arch extensions, and of course there's no room there for the parking sensor. So these cars in the S model cannot be specified with the park assist automatic parking. So just if that's important to you, then just bear that in mind. Having said that, with a full suite of sensors at the front and back, and a decent rear camera as well, it's probably not really necessary. We don't use it much in our vehicle. So yeah, parking assist, take it or leave it. It's fun to play with, but that's probably about it, unless you're really bad at parking. You'll also see that the Sport model has these nice little blue flashings at the front as well as a styling option. So in driving the car, I've got to say the handling is massively improved. It's not bad in the original car, but this is sport orientated, and you can really chuck this thing round the bends and round the roundabouts. I'll give you an example. If you push the standard i3 to the limit, those skinny tyres do tend to hop and skip a bit around the corners. If you put your foot down out of a corner, you can momentarily lose traction, particularly over a drain cover or something like that. You can, the traction control takes care of it. You can carry on going in a straight line, but there's a shudder and a hesitation there, which absolutely isn't present at all in the i3s. I really couldn't find the limit of this car. If you're a keen driver, you like to go quickly, you like to take the corners, then do you know what, the i3s has got to be your choice, and there really is no penalty on ride quality either. The other thing about the i3s is worth bearing in mind, it's got a sport mode on top of the normal comfort, Eco Pro and Eco Pro Plus modes. You've got an additional sport mode, and that sport mode sharpens up the throttle response somewhat. And I can't be absolutely sure, but I thought it dulled the regenerative a little bit as well. But I might not be right on that. There's probably no difference. But I didn't find the regenerative quite as powerful on this sport model as I did on our i3. The other thing to bear in mind is about another 14 horsepower as well, up from the standard car's 170 to 184 horsepower, and that is noticeable, believe it or not. That really is noticeable. It's a light car anyway. I ought to point out is the loaner car here, the press car I have here, is actually a BEV. It's an electric version with a 94 ampere hour battery, giving is total 33 kilowatt of energy storage. Our car has a 22 kilowatt battery. It's the older 60 ampere hour battery. The way you tell between a Rex and non-Rex is the fuel filler on the front of the car. You see on the Rex car we have the fuel filler, and on the electric version, the battery electric vehicle, there's no fuel filler on the front there. Also the buttons are missing in the dashboard inside. This particular car has been specified with rather sexy black wheels. Black wheels tend to show the marks and curb damage more easily. So you might want to bear that in mind, but my colour combination choice on this car would probably be with black wheels, a white car. I think the black and white contrast looks fantastic, and with the black roof and the black bonnet and the black mirrors, and the rocker panels are also black on the LCI model as well. So it really does look good. I've got nothing but praise for what they've done to the S model. This is they've done quite a bit of work in tuning this car, and it's I say the old car, the standard i3 is a great car to drive, but this just takes it into another plane. I really can only but recommend that feature. On the subject of wheels, it might be just worth saying that although these are large rims, they're also fairly large tyres, and we've owned this car. We owned this car over 3 years now, and you probably look at the state of our wheels and realise there's no marks to speak of on them. All 4 wheels are like this. Now, my wife and I are pretty careful drivers. We don't try and scrape our wheels, but it's really there's a little tiny mark on that one. I think probably from a damaged road surface, but there's nothing to speak of in terms of marks. But the reason for all that is the visibility of this car is so good. You can see all the corners, you can see the wheels through the door mirrors, and you can see the amount of glass area you've got in this car. Notice the step down at the back as well. That's a great feature, because you've got children in the back, little children. They can see out really well because the window line's low, and when kids can see out, they don't get car sick. Learnt that lesson a long time ago with my daughter. We had a Nissan Micra. She couldn't really see out of. It was a 93. I mean, she's 24 now, is it? 23, 24, something like that anyway. And when we replaced that car in 2000 with a Mercedes A-Class, that had a similar feature, and it had the little pop-up child seats in the back as well, little booster seats, and the kids could see out and they loved it. And it's the same in this car. You've got that great visibility at the back. You've got quite a good gap between the front seats, so people can see out, and that's great. Our car has the lodge interior. I mean, the lodge to our mind, it's been updated slightly since this vehicle, but the lodge interior is a great interior option. You get the half leather seats, which are nice and bright and airy. This wool material, well, just look at it. I mean, it's this is a car that's 3.5 years old. These seats have never ever been cleaned. They've never had to be cleaned, and you can see how nicely looking they are as well. It's a really good interior. This eucalyptus wood adds a very nice finishing touch. You also get on the lodge interior, you get the whole full lighting package with the different interior lights and door handle lights and all this sort of thing as well, and of course leather trim dashboard, which you don't get in the lower models. So basically you're getting everything on the lodge that you get in the suite, except the full leather chairs. We found the full leather chairs to be a little bit dark, and we preferred the lighter interior of the lodge. So it's a great interior choice, I think. It looks smart, it's modern, and really BMW haven't done any significant update in 5 years to this interior, and it's stood the test of time, and it's why, because people like it. I'll just compare the interior of the S model we've got as well. So this is the more basic one. This is the more basic interior. It's still nice, the material quality, is very good. I think it will really stand up well to wear. You lose the eucalyptus wood, you lose the lighting package, and of course you've got a plastic type dashboard. It's not leather covered as well, but you can specify the other interiors on the SS or the LCI model. They're all there to be had, it's just that this car hasn't got it. What this car does have is the Harman Logic 7 sound system. I'm a bit of an audiophile actually, and sound systems are probably something I would normally go for in a car. Certainly in my Tesla I went for the premium sound system, which is also engineered by H2NN or Harman. And in the Tesla, the upgrade from the standard stereo to the premium hi-fi makes a big difference. In this car, I realise the upgrade isn't as expensive either. I'll be honest, the upgrade does give you rear speakers, it gives you tweeters on the A-pillars, and it gives you a sub in the dashboard. I honestly can't say it's worth the additional investment. I would much rather this car had a sunroof, for example, and that's more tangible. It'll help on resale value. The Logic 7 in this car, the implementation, it doesn't include a graphic equalizer, it doesn't include a Dolby surround processing, and yes, it gives you more noise, it gives you the rear speakers for people in the back if they want to listen to your music. But I have to say, I don't think the Logic 7 implementation in this car is a great buy. If you want to upgrade a stereo, I think you should talk about looking at a specialist provider for that. If you really do want top quality sound, you're not going to get it out of a car manufacturer's package. But that's a small thing. The other thing on this car, it's got the new version 6 Pro navigation system as well. Let me show you some of the differences. Well, we're sitting in the i3s now. I'll start the car up, and obviously the main menu comes up. And the real difference with the version 6 of the navigation system is that you move more towards an icon approach rather than a text menu approach. Oh dear, I'm struggling with this. I preferred the simple text menus. I equate the difference between the original Microsoft Word, where you had drop downs, and the newer ribbons of icons. And on Microsoft Word I can never ever find what I'm looking for. It moves with the resizing of windows, etc. And I'm kind of having echoes of the same on this. So I'm not sure about the user interface. It might be that I'm not used to it, but I'm not quite sure about user interface. Having said that, it's a quid pro quo, because there are some parts of this interface which are much better. So I think it's a case of getting used to it. It's different. I've been driving a car for 3.5 years with a different layout, and I'm probably just used to it. I know where everything is, and this one is a bit of a learning curve. Talking to other people on the BMWi3 group, I think, who have bought a new car, who replaced their older cars with new cars, are saying the same thing. They're saying, actually, I struggled with it to begin with, but it's all right, and it's actually much better. So take with a pinch of salt what I'm saying. But nevertheless, I mean, you've got a lot of similar features. If you go into navigation, you've got the map button. You can go straight directly to the map. If you click right, you can then select what you want to display in the right hand side of the screen. I've yet to find the Google Street View feature on this car that the old car has, but it's probably me not found it. So there we go. What I will say though is the way you enable remote service on these cars. Back in the old days, it was a bit of a nightmare. You had to register BMW, send them, BMWi, send them your V5C, and then they'd eventually, after about a week, set you up your remote access. With this, it's nothing more than pairing the phone and ticking the yes buttons, and it happens in about 10 minutes. The only thing you've got to remember is to go into the connected drive, then press the option button and then update BMW services. If you do not update BMW services, then you'll be wondering what's happened to my remote access. Why can't I use my apps with the car? And yeah, that's the important bit. Remember that if things aren't working, and this goes for any i3, if something's not working, you think should be working, go to that menu option, connected drive, and then press the option button and update BMW services, just to show you what these buttons are then. So obviously this is referring to the Pro navigation, but a little bit of a different button layout on the new car. But yeah, the menu is where you find the connected drive option, and then when you're in there, press the option button, and that's when you'll find the menu. So it's a little bit strange. It's the same as the old car. You've got map and nav. What you haven't got here, you've got a COM interface, which is kind of like your phone type interfaces, and connectivity and media. So before you had a radio and a media button, so you could select from radio to media, but now you select radio through media. Small change there, but yeah, but otherwise it's pretty much a similar. You got your Pro button, and you got your park assist button, which of course doesn't do anything in terms of parking assistance in this car, but it's you know, it is a great car. Oh, I rather like the carpet. The on the carpet down here is a rather nice metallic i3s logo. In fact, it's so nice. I think I might, if I ever replace the carpets in our car, I might get that carpet. It's really nice. What else can I say about this vehicle? Some of the old i3 features are still here. I mean, one of the best ones, I mean, you obviously got the air conditioning, but if you press the max AC button, this is great. Wow, it spins up to speed really quickly. I hope you can still hear me. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, does it cool the car down quickly. You know, much faster than any conventional car that has a you know, a mechanical engine-driven air conditioning system. This electric system is really quick to cool the interior of the car down. So definitely remember that button. That's a great button to have. This car's fitted with heated seats as well. It was an option when we bought ours. I think it's standard nowadays, but that in an electric car I think is a very important option. One thing I actually don't like is when you go into, I mentioned the different modes, the different driving modes you've got. You've got basically start at the most efficient driving. So Eco Pro Plus, what that does is turn the air conditioning off. It just gives you ventilation, no heating, no ventilation. Sorry, no heating, no cooling, and your maximum speed is limited to 56 miles per hour. You can actually override it by squeezing the throttle past it, but there is an artificial stop at 56 miles an hour, and that will give you the maximum range in the car. In terms of range, our old 60 rand per hour, the best I've had is about 105 miles before the 6% limit where the range extender kicks in, cuts in. So in a battery electric vehicle, that probably, you know, equivalent to driving probably something like 115 miles. As long as you do it gently, don't exceed 50 miles an hour, you can get that sort of range out of an old 60. The new car has half as much energy again in the battery, so you should expect to get something like 160 miles driven carefully in that mode. The next mode up is Eco Pro, where speed you can actually set the speed limit. Typically you set that to 60, 65, and Eco Pro, you know, gives you some air conditioning and heating, quite suitable for spring weather. Probably not for the hottest, you know, the heat of the summer or very cold winter, but it also limits the acceleration as Eco Pro Plus does, to you know, give me some more range. And then there's the comfort setting, which is kind of, you know, everything as it should be. You know, all the heating, all the cooling, all the performance you could want in the car. But the i3s has yet another mode, and if you hit the up arrow again, you get this sport dynamic setting, and that gives a you know, a more tuned, more instantaneous throttle response, and yeah, it is a little bit different. It's quite nice if you're in a sporty mood, and actually it doesn't really seem to affect the range at all as well, in the experience I've had of driving it. So there is. We've yesterday the guessometer. This is guessing how much range you have on a 100% battery. The guessometer is telling us we've got 129 miles of range in this car, 130 miles now. So that gives you some idea, and that's with pretty spirited driving yesterday. This meter actually adjusts the range according to how you're driving. If you start driving really, really gently, it wouldn't surprise me to see that go, up to 170, 180 miles, on the range on this battery vehicle. So if you drive really carefully. My experience again of the i3 is that the i3 tends to be more efficient around town. You can easily get 5 miles per kilowatt around town in this car. If you're going to do 70 miles on the motorway, that falls. And if you drop from 70 to say 55, you'll see about 15%, even 20% improvement in range. Certainly going from 70 to 50, you'll easily get a 20% improvement in range. Wind drag makes a big difference, and this is quite a tall, bricky shaped car. It's not designed really as a motorway cruiser. It can be. It rides beautifully on the motorway, but it's a round town car. It's optimised, and for round town, it's a great car for what I call medium distance trips. London to Bristol, London to Birmingham, etc. You might have to stop for one charge on the way, but if you haven't got a Rex, that is. But it's not an everyday driving to Birmingham car or across Europe car, but it is a great city car, around town car. We live in southeast London. If you want to go to Canterbury or something and back, then that's fine in this 33 kilowatt or 94 amp hour model. With the old car, I would suggest always a range extender to do the same sort of thing. So there you have it in a nutshell. I'm really impressed. I tell you what, I am so impressed with the sport model. If you're buying one of these cars and you've got the money, buy the sport model. You will not regret it. It's a great car anyway, but the sport tweaking just transforms it. It just turns it into a pretty decent little. It's not even a warm hatch; it's more a hot hatch. Although the bare metal figures may not say that this is a 0 to 60 in 6 second car, because you have this instant throttle response, and because the power's there, you've got instant response like you would have first gear in any combustion engine car. Because you have that, in real life, it's a really quick car, and it's great fun. So, yeah, there's my tuppence worth on that. Fantastic car, sport, well worth the extra investment, and don't worry about the 20-inch wheels. It honestly makes no difference to the ride quality overall. There's different characteristics, but it's a comfortable car. It's a firm car, but it's a comfortable car. It is not something that's going to send you down to the osteopath in a hurry. So there's my tuppence worth on the car. I think time for a drive. Well, just driving along the Orpington Road towards Chislehurst over the railway line that connects to Swanley, and on the left we have Petts Wood. So the idea is to head up towards the North Cray Road, up to the A2 at Dartford, to a little stretch of dual carriageway where we should be able to do a little 0 to 60 test. It's a 17 mile an hour speed limit, and it's exactly the same stretch of road I tested the standard i3 on a few years back. So we'll compare the performance of the i3s versus the i3 and see if it lives up to its claims. We're going to use the BMW M Lap Timer app, which will record the performance directly from the vehicle's onboard systems. and also gives us an idea of acceleration using the accelerometer within the iPhone. The only difference is last time I did this was an iPhone 6 and currently it's an iPhone 8, so but the readings that come from the vehicle should be absolutely identical, so not expecting any changes there. 30 mph speed limit here, of course. And one thing I have noticed about this car, I mean, I'm indicating 29 miles an hour at the minute, and the speed sign there is saying, well, sorry, 29. It just has a little hiccup there. But what I'm trying to say is that the speedo in the i3s is more or less spot on. It perhaps indicates maybe one significant digit above the actual speed. So if you were doing 29.1 miles per hour actual, then the car will probably be displaying 30, which is fine. So it's within 1 mile per hour, and that's actually just about spot on what the Tesla does. The older i3, though, the non-S, and perhaps it's down to tyre dimensions, etc., but the older one reads about 2.5 to 3 miles an hour over general town speeds. At 30 miles an hour it's probably about 2 miles an hour over, and at 40 it's about 3 miles per hour over, and at 70 it's about 4 or 5 miles per hour over. So the speedometer in this car certainly seems to be a lot more accurate than certainly our 2015 model, but it can be down to a number of things. Tyre pressures even can affect this, but I have checked the tyre pressures and they are absolutely as they should be. 1, 2, 3, we're ready to go.